Yeah, I'm not seeing it on my
right
end.
now we have a total of 30 people watching us over on Twitter. As we wait for the YouTube side to kick in.
Yeah,
just
locals kicked in.
Circling for me.
Yeah,
Shout
locals
out to the people
working
over on Rumble.
There we go. Okay, it's finally working now. Holy crap, that was terrible. What's going on, YouTube? Get your shit together, man.
Welcome to the people on YouTube. We've just been talking for the first about 30 seconds, trying to desperately waste time before we actually saw this, before we actually started talking. But yes, welcome. It's Friday, Geeks and Gamers Daily, which means on Fridays we get an extra hour. Or should I say you guys get an extra hour over on Locals.
That's right. Hey,
that's so exciting.
Last night we watched ThanksKilling on Locals. Have you ever seen ThanksKilling?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Do you not know what ThanksKilling's about?
It's a fucking Thanksgiving horror movie.
Yeah, about a killer turkey.
I didn't know it was about a turkey.
It's about a killer turkey. It was amazing. It's such a bad movie. It's one of those it's so bad it's good type of movies, you know what I mean? Like, it is horrible. And the turkey, I mean, like, the movie starts out with, like, way back in the day, like after the first Thanksgiving, and it's got this woman running around with her tits hanging out for no reason, and then she's like scared. Now we edited the tits, and again, if you were lucky enough to witness the viewing party, you know what Jay Hailstorm did with the editing of the tits, which made it even funnier. But all of a sudden she's running scared, and all of a sudden it goes to the turkey, and he's like, "Nice tits, bitch," and then he kills her. It's the
who was doing the watch party?
So Steph and Beardo were the mains. I was there, and then Mike joined us as well.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun.
I feel like it might be funnier if we had Krista doing watch parties of movies like that.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like, so she was watching Wicked yesterday, so that's why she couldn't be there, and that was the best day for when they asked me about what the best day was for me to be there. I was like, Thursday's the best day for me, so they had to schedule it for Thursday. But yeah, having Krista do watch parties is going to be something we're gonna
like. Having Krista react to the idea of a killer turkey who's just telling, like, just with bitches with their tits out, shit like that. I feel like that would be premium content right there.
Oh man. So yeah, we will be live over there for our post show on Friday, and we may have a special guest joining us. We'll see. I guess you'll have to wait and tune in for that. But we got stuff to talk about today, Ryan. Wicked is here, and it is taking over the world. Everybody's going crazy over Wicked. Now, if only there were somebody on the internet that would have warned us to not think this movie was going to flop based off the controversy. If only there were somebody. And that somebody is here. You, from the start, have been saying adamantly, do not think this movie is going to flop. It's going to have a huge opening weekend. And after that, who knows what's going to happen? Now the reviews are starting to roll out and people are loving it. The target demographic is loving it. I'm not going to watch it. You're not going to watch. I don't know if you're going to watch it. I mean, I do hate that I kind of missed out on the Barbie discussion, but I just never watched Barbie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There is a chance, like, if a girl gets me there this weekend, that might be what it is. But I'm not going by myself. That's for fucking sure. But yeah, it's just sometimes I feel like in this space, the internet, which, hey, listen, when you're watching this video and that video and that video, you can sometimes be a little bit immune to the reality surrounding movies like this. It's why when people were saying about Barbie, I thought they were being retarded. I thought that Barbie was going to be massive from the beginning, and I saw the same thing. I saw the writing on the wall with this movie. The audience that this movie is made for, it's not just a handful of people with pronouns in their bios, like for something like The Acolyte, and trying to take a male brand and turn it into a female brand. Wicked is extremely popular and has been for decades, and they made the movie for the people that love that musical, that love that play, and it's doing awesome right now. And I expect it to continue to do really awesome throughout the weekend. because that audience exists. And that's okay to have movies that are specifically geared towards
Yes.
and like there's nothing wrong with that. In the same way that there's nothing wrong with having movies and franchises and IPs that are specifically geared towards men. The problem comes when you have these IPs, when you have these franchises. Imagine they tried to make Wicked, but they're like, we're going to make it for dudes. And so all of the people that have loved that IP, that have been going to Broadway plays, that have been crying their eyes out when they watch these musical numbers and a story about friendship and overcoming differences, all this shit, right? All of those people would have hated if they had done that, and that would have failed if they had tried to make Wicked for dudes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's that simple. And I saw a lot of people, especially when we started talking about Cynthia Erivo, the dumb shit she said, that's like, wow, she just guaranteed this movie will flop. This movie's gonna fail. I'm like, y'all need to slow your fucking roll because you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, and again, we've been, as Geeks and Gamers and a lot of the individuals here, like we've always been advocating for, it's okay to make movies for people that are interested in those movies. What a crazy scenario here. Hey, this audience that loves this movie, we should make a story and characters for that audience and quit trying to make it a wider audience and a wider appeal, because ultimately people will show up to a good movie. And so it looks like right now, based on what you're hearing, the core audience for Wicked loves what they've done. That's okay. And if that core audience goes out and supports it financially and they're successful, that's okay. I saw Jeremy Johns gave a review of it too. He gave it a good review, positive review. He obviously said he's never read anything on it. He's never seen the play. He knows nothing about it. But from a movie, standpoint and a storytelling standpoint, he said it did feel like a little bit of a setup, almost like because it is a part one, so there was a little bit left on the table from that perspective. But I'm happy that people are happy with it. And now hopefully we can kind of move away from this agenda-driven bullshit and get us back on track with like making movies for the people that are interested in them. And if you do that, you tend to get a bigger audience when you start to hear that the foundation and the core audience is happy and there's discussions and everything, and people go, oh, word of mouth starts picking things up, social media starts going crazy with reactions, and then normies start going, oh, well, everybody's talking about this movie, I got to go check it out. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. That's how Star Wars became Star Wars, through people loving it and becoming like telling their friends about it. Word of mouth. It's a powerful thing, especially in the social media age.
Yep. And so, we'll see. Gladiator and Barbie, people are talking about what they're calling Glicket or whatever the fuck.
That's so dumb.
It's not going to be as big as Barbenheimer, just because I don't think quite the interest levels there. And it's similar because you got a female target audience, and then this IP that obviously is probably more men are going to come out and watch something like Gladiator 2. I don't think either of the movies are going to reach the heights of their comparators, but we'll see. Gladiator 2, its problem is its budget. That reported budget, I've seen some things that say 210. Well, we did have a reported budget that it went over budget to $300 million. And if that's true, this movie's going to struggle to make money. Like, if you're setting yourself up where you need to hit $900 million to break even, you're kind of fucked, right? Yeah. Wicked, $150 million. So what they did with Wicked is they filmed both part 1 and part 2 back, and it cost them around $300 million. So the budget of the first part is around $150 million. Second part's around $150 million. So that path to make money is much easier than obviously something like Gladiator with how expensive it is. I saw Gladiator last night,
and
I don't hate it or anything. I don't think it's shitty. I think it's maybe a little bit better than average, like maybe a 6 or something. I think that the main character, certainly the problem with it is you're going to compare it to the first one, and the first one is a damn near perfect movie. Like, I don't know if there's anything I would change about the movie Gladiator. And I think Russell Crowe's Maximus is a super compelling character and like what you see him, how you see him start, what you see him go through, his motivations of not only revenge, but also of continuing on and honoring the wishes of Marcus Aurelius and what he wanted for Rome. And Lucius is not as compelling as a main character, but a lot of the same vibes are there. They're still about chasing that dream and turning Rome into that dream that his grandfather wanted. They do a lot of honoring Maximus throughout the entire thing. They reveal something that a lot of people had speculated from the first movie about the relationship between Maximus and Lucilla. Pedro Pascal's character in it, I don't want to give away like super spoilers or anything, but Pedro Pascal's character is actually similar to Maximus in terms of a general who is ready to put an end to these things and ready to stop some of the crazy emperors that are in charge of Rome, but he still gets set against Lucius because of something that happens early in the movie. So I certainly didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it or anything, but I don't think it's stay away from this movie type of thing. Right. It's fine. I think people can go and have a good time. I would watch Gladiator before you watch it if it's been a while since you watched it, so you can remember all of these references and themes and interactions that you're talking about. And they have a couple flashbacks of things sprinkled in there to make you like remind you if it's been a while since you've seen Gladiator about the relationships between these people.
Okay, there you go. So is Frank Gore in the chat too? Frank Gore in the house. I've watched a few things over the last few days, Ryan. I watched the first 2 episodes of Landman. Are you familiar with Landman?
Landman, yes, with Billy Bob Thornton and asking his daughter about getting cream pie.
Yes. So Landman, that's Taylor Sheridan's new series, and the first 2 episodes I think are on point. It's essentially, I guess it will be Sons of Anarchy or Yellowstone in Texas with the oil industry is essentially the best way to describe that. And yeah, it's really freaking good. So I enjoyed that. And for the first time ever, I watched a movie that came out a long time ago that I had not seen ever. Sicario. Watched Sicario for the first time. Have you seen Sicario?
Yeah, that's great.
Really fucking good movie. Holy shit.
That's like was Taylor Sheridan's like first.
Yes. Yep. And of course, Cobra Kai season 6, part 2, which we talked about that a little bit, not off camera, but on camera. And that is excellent. Part 2 definitely gets it back on track for I didn't hate part 1, by the way. I think a lot of people were just kind of underwhelmed by it, but I thought that part 1 was fine, but part 2 definitely gets business back in order for a lot of people for sure. And so now I'm looking forward to 3. So Landman, highly recommend that. I'm sure everybody's already seen Sicario. I'm one of the last people that probably hasn't seen that. That's a fucking great movie. It drags a little bit in the middle, just a little bit, but like the first quarter of the movie is absolutely phenomenal, and the last quarter, the middle drags a tad, but overall, it's a damn good movie.
I will say, because I did mention Denzel's character. His character, like, to me, that was like the most disappointing part of the movie because I like Denzel Washington. I don't think he delivered like a super, like a, oh my God, what an incredible performance or anything. And his arc, I feel like happens a little, it goes from like 0 to 60 real fucking quick. And in a movie that's like 2.5 hours long, I feel like it shouldn't feel that quickly paced when those things happen. They obviously do set things up, but I just feel like it happens really quickly. But overall, they tried to recapture elements of the first one with sometimes changing things around. Hey, look at this gladiator trainer who, at first he just wants what he can get out of his gladiator, but then slowly he kind of becomes kind of a good man and is willing to do this to help his gladiator in Rome and all this stuff. Yeah, kind of the inverse in this one. Shit like that. They try to replicate a lot of elements about the first one while changing some characters' alignments, I suppose you could say. I didn't hate it. I had a fine time.
Do you think it's going to do decent at the box office?
It depends on how we define decent. I think if this was a movie that had cost somewhere around $150 million, I think that you can look at it and be like, okay, I think it might do well. But because of its massive budget, if those $300 million reports are accurate, ultimately it could make $700 million and still end up being a financial failure if that's true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that just makes it tough.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, the whole, I guess they're trying to, like, the whole thing about Barbenheimer, that wasn't forced. That was just a natural kind of reaction on social media that kind of evolved. And if they're trying to force that into this with these movies, I don't think that's going to work. But I do think that it feels like Wicked is going to have legs based on the reaction, whereas I don't feel like Gladiator is going to have a lot of legs.
Well, another thing you have to keep in mind is Moana 2 comes out on Wednesday for Thanksgiving weekend, and that's going to be huge. Like that is going to be massive. So there's going to be a lot of movies fighting for this space here over this Thanksgiving holiday, which is probably going to be really big. But I mean, we got some of the initial numbers right here from Thursday previews. Box office, Wicked earns huge 19 million from week-long previews. Gladiator 2 soars to 6.5 million on Thursday alone. Two tentpoles are kicking off what's expected to be the biggest Thanksgiving in history at the domestic box office, which welcomes Moana 2 on Wednesday. Call it whatever you want, Glicked, Wickiator, or Barbenheimer 2.0. The only thing that matters is the domestic box office is springing back to life in historic fashion thanks to the combo Universal's Wicked and Paramount's Gladiator 2. So, fueled largely by females and gay men, Wicked grossed a huge 11 million in Thursday previews from 3,300 cinemas for a total preview of 19.2. So obviously they had like a Wednesday special screening and a Monday special screening. So if you just look at the pure Thursday, about $11 million for Wicked. Which puts it above things like The Little Mermaid, which puts it above things like Wonder Woman from, several years ago. But what they're expecting is certainly an over $100 million opening. Some people have it projected as high as 130 or so for that, which would be huge. Reminder, Barbie, I think, took 165 million in its opening weekend. For Gladiator, 6.5 million on Thursday. People are predicting potentially a $65 million opening for Gladiator 2. Gladiator 2 is probably a movie that's going to do much better internationally than it does domestically in general. Already had a big opening weekend last weekend, like $90 million worldwide, because it just did international opening. So yeah, I mean, both of them are solid, certainly. I think Wicked's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, and we'll continue to follow it. The first weekend's going to be huge for Wicked. It's going to be, how does that word of mouth carry the movie beyond that? And I think that's the big question. Even with people that are going to be excited about it, is it going to hit an audience that it's not intended for? And I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm not interested myself, just like I wasn't interested in Barbie. I'm not even really interested in Gladiator 2, to be honest. I don't care. It's not a sequel I was asking for. Maybe 10 years ago, it would have been something I was interested in, but we're too far beyond it. Was there the gay kiss? Was there any type of that in it? Like, did they have any hints of anything with Denzel?
So one of the emperors, while they're sitting there, one of the emperors is surrounded by women, and another one has a gay dude on his side. But they also established that the emperor is actually insane, and I think he probably has syphilis and has gone crazy. So they do have that. Denzel at one point says, now he does greeting and kissing people on the hands and stuff. And at one point when he's like intimidating this person to get to work for him, he gives him a couple kisses on the cheek, like a greeting. He does mention at one point when him and this other guy are drunk and he's trying to get information out of him. Someone speculates that some random character prefers the company of men, and Denzel's like, hey, depending on the day, sometimes so do I. Is kind of in passing, but I wouldn't call it. It's not like a super gay movie or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know what the kiss that got cut would have been. I don't know where exactly that would have been in place, or maybe that whole thing got cut in general. I'm not sure.
Jason Gallagher says all Jeremy cares about is Orange Man. I mean, I haven't talked about Trump, but if you want me to, I can talk about him right now. We can make the whole show about Trump. I don't have any problem with that at all. If it would piss you off, I would gladly do that. We could talk about his case being dismissed in New York. We could talk about his potential CIA or FBI picks. We could talk about just a list of things. So I'm all for that. So shut your fucking mouth, or I'll talk about Trump the whole time.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, I see some people. They had a gay dude. It's like, well, in the first Gladiator, guess what they do after Maximus wins that first one? He gets pulled up there, and he's like, hey, what can I give you? What can I offer you? Women, men. Like there's references like that because he's assuming that Maximus might be into dudes. So there's things like that in the first one too. So that's why I think maybe that's a little bit overblown. But I don't know. It wasn't something I was like, oh God. I rolled my eyes a little when Denzel had that line, but I think everyone's freaking out about everything.
We'll see. We'll see how the box office goes for both of these films, but I'm happy that people are happy about Wicked and the Gladiator 2. I guess we'll see.
We shall see. Yeah, and then someone has, the first Gladiator was gay too. You guys just didn't know it. It's like, all right. Well, first Gladiators, I think a fucking masterpiece.
Yes.
Base John Morrow for 2 with a thumbs up. Thank you. Zane Excalibur, you like dudes, says Zane Excalibur. Thank you. Eldridge, Jeremy, I know you're planning the MegaCon meetup either Friday or Saturday. Don't know if you know, but MegaCon is offering a Universal After Hours ticketed event Friday night. Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, they did that last time. I don't think we went to it. I think we were invited to it, but we didn't go.
Well, no. What he's saying is like with MegaCon, they do a special thing, a partnership with MegaCon where people that are going to MegaCon can do a thing and buy a ticket, like a big MegaCon thing. So it's not like a small event. It's
okay.
A big event.
Okay. Yeah, there was something with like a post show for MegaCon that was like a smaller thing that we were invited to last time that we didn't go to.
Cray with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Cray.
Thank you.
Filthy Casual for 5. Finished Heir to the Empire trilogy, Plagueis, and I'm halfway through Revan. Makes me sad for what Star Wars could have been. Why is Disney so dumb? They have a lot of very stupid people in charge. My Dixie Wrecked, new member. Thank you, my Dixie Wrecked. JM, vacation in Pensacola soon. Food recommendations?
Flounders on Pensacola Beach and the Fish House in Pensacola. You will thank me afterwards. Get the grouper bites at the Fish House. So good. So good. Yeah, so Flounders and the Fish House. And of course, Culver's.
B-Chain for $10. I just drove 2 hours, 45 minutes to my first dealership visit, motorcycle apparel rep, and both parts employees called out due to a dusting of snow. Great to start the day. On the next one. Yeah, over in, I don't know where you're at, B-Chain, but Chicago got its first snow of the year. Like the northern Indiana area got its first snow of the year yesterday. So a lot of people were surprised by how much it was. They thought it was going to be like a dusting, but it ended up being a little bit more than that. So it's that time of year. I miss the winter. I miss snow, to be honest with you.
I'm glad it's finally getting a little cool in this area. The weather's cooling down some.
It is. It's nice and chilly outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, fuck Alabama. Fuck Jeremy's toupee. Hello, Ryan's hair. Notre Dame rules all. Bills Mafia. Shout out West Texas. Thank you, Stephen De Leon. Aberjam for £2. Take your woman to Wicked. Guaranteed blowy. If you know, you know. Thank you, Aberjam. Rudy for 2. Wicked for dudes. You mean Joker 2? You think Joker 2 is wicked for dudes? Just because they sing in it? I don't know. Tobias Nexus. People watch what they enjoy and doesn't attack them. Doesn't mean everyone has to enjoy it or there's some kind of racist bigot. Jeremy and I highly disagree on Zootopia, but I don't think he's a fucktard.
Yeah, Zootopia is garbage.
I'm convinced that Zootopia is created just for furries, like Tobias. And
I hated Zootopia. I hated Zootopia so much. I've only seen it one time, and I hated it. And this is back when everybody loved it. Holy shit, everybody loved it.
I don't remember hating, just like, okay. I didn't really like it. But
that was like one of the first movies that I felt that I was seeing agenda-driven bullshit within it. Like, and it was just before, when did Zootopia come out? This is like pre, Force Awakens and all that shit, right?
I feel like Zootopia was like 2016 or something.
Was it?
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 2014. 2016 was Zootopia.
2016. Okay. Yeah. So I just it was just, to me, it was a little too on the nose with a lot of that. But this is before we were even hypersensitive to that type of shit.
Landman, that's my hood, son. West Texas. Thank you, Stephen De Leon. Orangutan for 199. Cobra Kai is S tier. Obama. Hail 199 and FNT.
Hail.
Jeremy Webb, thoughts on live action How to Train Your Dragon? Well, we did a reaction to the trailer. I talked a little bit on my stream earlier. From a pure trailer standpoint, I thought it was a really good trailer to show you that they want to totally make you feel like this is the animated one come to life. I like the design for Toothless. I like the fact that the dragons look the way that those dragons look and the design of those dragons, as opposed to trying to make it look like a real dragon, like a Joe Rogan dragon. Obviously, the one thing I don't know how people didn't know this for the past year and a half, even though we talked about it when it was first announced. Nico Parker in the role of Astrid doesn't look like Astrid. Now, Nico Parker is basically quarter black Garrett in terms of she's a quarter black, right? Her mom, Bandy Newton, is her mom is black, her dad is white, and then Nico Parker's dad is a white dude. So she's a quarter black. Obviously doesn't look very Scandinavian. And so that obviously has become a big thing, and rightly so. I think people have a right to complain about that, especially when you take so much care and effort. Like when you see the ways that they are really trying to recreate that animated one, like shot for shot, like things like this, then you question decisions like that. Now, the original director for How to Train Your Dragon is the guy who's doing this. So, there's that. It's going to be pretty big. I think it's going to be pretty big when it does come out. I think it's going to have a lot of attention. I think there's going to be a lot of people to go to see it. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the trailer goes, I agree. Everything about that. People are fed up with the woke bullshit and the race swapping bullshit, and they're going to latch on to that. But I do not think that it's going to have a big impact on this movie if they continue with the look and the feel that first trailer gave us. If they continue to hammer that home, and it has that feel and vibe of the first How to Train a Dragon, which is a massively popular film. Yeah. And then you obviously have the new area that's going to be coming to Epic Universe, the How to Train Your Dragon area. I don't see this movie kind of being bogged down by identity politics if it's just that one decision right there, even though it's going to piss off a lot of people, and it should piss people off.
Yeah, I think people are very right to criticize it. But I think if you're feeling that this is going to be some like Snow White level disaster, I just don't think that's the case. The trailer got pretty well received. I think it's like 90% upvotes, that you don't have like this massive wave of downvotes or anything. So I think that the controversy is kind of limited in scope for most people. I think most people are just looking at the trailer and being like, hey, that reminds me of the animated. And well, if the movie is like that, then it's gonna do really fucking well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if that was just a trailer and then people actually go to see the movie and they've completely changed a bunch of shit, and like Astrid already is like, everyone, like even Hiccup like looks up to her, and everyone is like looking up to Astrid. She's really good. She takes it really seriously. So there's going to be elements of that in that movie. But as long as they stick to the story that they had in the animated, it's going to do well. If they depart from that, and hey, this is the reason that they actually cast this person, this is what they're going to do with them, it's going to suffer.
Did you brought up Snow White? Didn't the trailer leak, or I've seen people with the recording of the trailer from the Wicked premiere? Was that real? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's real. It's out there. I haven't. I don't know what Disney will do in terms of trying to take that down, since
we can't watch it. It hasn't
officially released on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
yeah, I think that's a strategic move by them to get that out in front of a very, very like gay or women audience that sees the trailer first, to try and build support without it going to the wider internet right now. I think that's strategic on their part, and then they want to release it after they've built enough generate enough buzz with the demographics that they need to take care of. But it's going to get crushed as soon as it hits the internet. It's going to get crushed.
I'll say it's not this. This isn't like they've never do this. This happens kind of often when they release a new trailer, and the first time it's seen is at these previews that first weekend, and then later they release it on YouTube. Which is how I think that, and that's how it used to be, by the way. This is not like a new thing. This is not a special thing. Oh, they're just doing it for this. Though I see some people talking like that. It happens like fairly often, but we'll see.
But usually after the opening night, they drop it. It's usually
I wouldn't be surprised if it drops this weekend or something. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
I didn't watch it though. I just saw people reacting to it, but I didn't watch it.
All right, where were we? Stephen De Leon for 2. Landman, that's my hood son, West Texas.
Landman's good.
Orangutan for 199.
Are you just rereading everything, motherfucker? What's wrong with you?
Did I already say that? I
did.
Yes,
you read the other one too.
Yeah. This is where I left off.
What's wrong with you?
I have Alzheimer's. Pre-dawn corpse
you were autistically remember the weirdest shit, and you can't remember reading super chats from 3 minutes ago. The fuck's wrong with you?
I don't know. The super chats just meant that much to me when I read them that I wanted to read them again. It really left an imprint on my mind. Pre-dawn corpse. I just saw the gayest guy on earth. 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 Jeremy.
What up, Pre-dawn corpse?
Mike Zero's source. Cynthia Erivo looks like Butch Don Lemon. I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, says Taker. Tobias Nexus. Barbenheimer was the latest, but remember when Animal Crossing New Horizons and Doom Eternal came out on the same day? We had Doomslayer and Isabel killing demons violently and hanging out after.
I remember that. I also remember the Doom trailer set to the Mario music, which was fantastic. Mario Odyssey. That was such a good trailer. Such a good trailer.
Let's see. Jose Taco. Elon asked Ron Paul to join the Doge administration, and he said yes. Are you tired of winning?
Yes, he did.
How much longer is Ron? How old is Ron Paul?
He's like 90. It's like 90.
Yeah.
But if he can, so Ron Paul tweeted out that Elon asked him about it. So that's going to make a lot of people happy. And it'll be interesting to see what Doge is able to accomplish by cutting $2 trillion out of the government. So I guess we'll see.
B Chain, New England. Everyone forgets how to drive the second the flakes fall. Retards. Yeah. Jeremy Webb for 5. Also, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is back in production with Fauzi Mesmar appointed as the new creative director in October 2024. There you go. Arnold Squash and N-word for $2.99. Two men of color. One gay rhymes with iron. Streaming. One gay rhymes with iron. Thank you. Stephen De Leon for 5. Can you tell me the difference in fighting styles between Anakin and Obi-Wan? Anakin's a practitioner, Obi-Wan's a practitioner of Surisu. So it's kind of tough to get through his defensive wall, whereas Anakin's a Form 5, mainly Gemso practitioner, so focused on a lot of using a lot of power in his strikes in a very aggressive fighting form. Could go into more detail, but I hope that answers your questions. Moo Boy Moo for 2. Thanks for all the content. Love you guys.
Look at that. That's a nice comment.
Thanks.
We have really nice people watch us. Appreciate that.
Gerardson for Mexican 50. The creator of Zootopia is a gay furry.
That surprises no one.
I don't know if that's a real or just a joke. No. I don't know. Booming Bob. Remember, the asteroid controversy caused video that John Campea woke meme clip came from.
I forgot about that. That's why.
And that's not the thing. It's like there's so many people. I know I really just read a super chat that I did 3 minutes ago, but But I feel like there's so many people that have like no clue of what's going on, and something gets tweeted out and they're like, I can't believe, of course they didn't reveal this until and it's like, bro, they made this announcement a year and a half ago and it was a massive deal back then.
I forgot
it back then. Yeah, it's like,
I forgot that's what led to John Campia's rant video, his woke video. Whoa, God, it's so bad. And just like him walking around like his his Hollywood Hills house, and talking about how you can unsubscribe to my channel. I want to lose 30,000 of you right now. All of you racist, just unsubscribe. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that was over that.
Yeah.
Because this was announced like a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it was. And it is valid to criticize. And even the fact that the twins, one of them's a little heavier than she is supposed to be, and they're gingers instead of blondes. It's like even things like that when you're talking about hair colors for people, like these are things we focus on and you should focus on when you're adapting something and adapting a character. Nico Parker does not look like Astrid. Period. So especially when you just put out a trailer where clearly there was so much care and attention to detail put into making it look and feel like the original, you're gonna have those questions. And I think it's right to ask those questions. Maximus BT for $1.99. Are you retarded? Thanks, Maximus. Aberjam, so did Astrid's mom fuck a Night Fury? Thank you. Shadow Saiyan for 5. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is my favorite, especially the You're as Beautiful as the Day I Lost You scene. I just rewatched How to Train Your Dragon after the trailer came out because it's been a while since I've seen it. The movie's fucking good, man. As far as animated movies go, it's fucking good. If you like Sicario, you may want to catch the other entries in Sheridan's American Frontier trilogy, Hell or High Water and Wind River.
Both excellent. Both excellent. So
Chuck Berry for 2. Thanks for all the great content. Figs. Thank you. DJ with 5 gifted memberships. Thanks, DJ.
Yeah, by the way, I'd say Wind River. I liked Wind River more than Hell or High Water, but Wind River, fucking good, man. Really good.
Jeremy, crawdads or crayfish?
I don't really care for either. I've had more crawdads. So
you say crawfish instead of crayfish? I think you say crawfish, right? That's how it's pronounced.
So crawdads.
What is it crawfish though? You say crayfish.
Crayfish. Is it crawfish? I don't really eat either one of them. I've had more crawdads. I actually caught crawdads back in the day in Alabama. But
pass on both. Fuck that.
Yeah, I don't really so I like seafood, but I'm really specific on it. So I like salmon. I like more fried than I don't know. I mean, it's really my palate for seafood is very different. Like I don't like shrimp. Everybody loves shrimp. But I'm really I don't know, I'm really specific on the type of seafood I eat. Grouper is absolutely fantastic. Mahi is good. Yeah, so that's it.
We just got a $200 super chat from Linko Kenobi for 200. What's up, guys? Delta Entertainment. I just finished watching Cobra Kai last night. It was great. Looking forward to part 3 next year. Anyways, I did talk about the Snow White trailer and managed to play it. I didn't like what they're doing with the movies. We'll be watching Gladiator 2 next weekend. Hail the 199.
You played it. You might want to be careful with playing that on your channel because it could hit you. Until it's officially released, I would recommend just, again, don't. It could be fine for you, but if you have that on your channel, I personally would not have it on my channel. I'll just say that.
And what they like, ultimately, they probably won't actually like give you a strike. They'll probably just copyright pull it. That's what they usually do anyway, potentially. But, yeah. Well, thank you for the $200 super chat. Hope you enjoyed Gladiator 2. Like I said, that was all right. Didn't hate it. Chris Coretti for 5. Jussie Smollett is probably the happiest gay man on the planet other than Jeremy. Fucking Jussie Smollett's bitch ass.
It's ridiculous.
Bungles Twanger for 5. For the next bragging rights, I have the Ultimate Loser game license for the Ultimate Loser console. Waterworld for the Virtual Boy. I like the movie Waterworld, dude. What about you?
If I haven't seen it in forever, if I've even seen it, it's what is that, 20, 30 years old or some shit like that.
It was released in like 94
And
right?
it was always like hyped up as like the biggest flop ever back in the day, not now, obviously.
At the time, it was the most expensive movie ever made.
I can't remember if I've actually seen it. I can't remember. Yeah. I can't remember if I've even seen it.
So, the budget for Waterworld, it released in 1995 and it was $175 million. So, and one of the reasons was because all this shit, like the sets that they were building, someone just fucking sank, so they had to like rebuild them and stuff. It was a huge budget movie and it didn't pay off at the box office.
By the way, I have a Virtual Boy. Virtual Boy is awesome, even though it's a big failure.
Archer Blades, were y'all ever into Star Wars, the Old Republic MMO?
Sure, Ryan was.
Yeah, I played the fuck out of it. Yes. Bungles Twanger, speaking of Waterworld, why the hell is it still a thing at Universal Studios Hollywood? Many people today probably don't even know it's a movie. I love that show. I fucking love the Waterworld show at Universal.
I miss Jaws and Twister at Universal. That's what I miss. Yeah. Twister should be a thing. Twister should still be a thing. That was a cool ass show.
I didn't even know they were still doing the Waterworld show, to be honest with you.
Yeah, are they still doing it?
I don't know. I'm going on based off his super chat, but I loved it when I went to see it. It's like a stunt show. It's a water stunt show, and they're fucking jumping ski-doos and doing all the shit. Everything looks like it does from the movie, but I like the movie, so maybe that's why I like the show. I don't know.
You know, it's interesting. We brought up, I think this was yesterday on Daily, another movie that I forgot. Like, I can't tell you anything about it, and it's that James Franco Oz movie. I can't tell you a fucking thing about it. I don't remember anything. I remember seeing it. I can't tell you one single thing that happened in that movie. Not one. Have you seen it?
Yes. And I remember parts of it. I remember a couple scenes, and I remember him basically a fucking con man. You know, like that's the whole thing. He's a fucking con man.
I can't remember a single fucking thing in that movie, man. I forgot it existed until somebody brought it up. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I remember it. Not my cup of tea, but I think I've told you before, Wizard of Oz was like a huge thing in my little town in Indiana growing up.
Oh, it was huge when I was growing up. And huge.
I really never knew what. I knew we also had like an Oz festival every year, like a Wizard of Oz themed festival, and there'd be a parade, and they would bring all of the living munchkins. They all on a trolley, everybody waving at each other. This old fucking like wrinkly midgets that they would just parade past everybody, and it was a big thing. A lot of people in my town loved Wizard of Oz. I was like, man, I think it's okay. It's like, what do you want? You want me to like get super invested in this fucking movie from like 1930? I don't even remember when it released. Whatever.
1930. I don't think it was 1930. I think it was 50s or 60s, right? Maybe
Wizard of Oz.
No, that's 37, right? Am I right about that? 37.
1939.
Yeah. 39. Okay, 39. Yeah.
Yeah. It's old as shit.
It is old. God, it's been a long time.
It has been. And I mean, when the books came out in like the late 1800s or like 1900 or something, right? Like a long ass fucking time ago. Ryan Solier for 2. If she had blonde hair, it'd be a non-issue. Yeah, she's fairly light skinned. The problem is, yeah, I agree. I don't know why you wouldn't pick someone to look like Astrid. You pick someone that looked like Hiccup, and you pick someone that looked like Astrid, or make them look like Astrid. B. Barrett for 2. Shad apparently liked Wicked. Are you surprised? Still not as gay as Jeremy, though.
Of course, Shad did.
I saw his video. I can't believe I'm about to say this about Wicked, and I just assumed that meant he liked it, but I didn't watch it. Big Daddy Fry, morning, guys. I'm a recent Rumble subscriber to G&G. I was under the impression Rumbles and Locals were one and the same, but could not watch the Turkey Cast last night. Am I doing something wrong?
Yeah, so Locals is essentially a Patreon alternative. Locals is owned by Rumble, but they are not the same. But however, you can connect your accounts, but you still need to be directly signed up through Locals to be a supporter.
It is a little confusing.
It is a little confusing.
Yeah, it is a little confusing because it says like support with. If you click like support with locals thing, it'll take you there. But
yeah.
Yes, maybe we can try to help you out and get that
Actually,
figured out.
I think what we will do is we might actually just make a video and put that on Rumble that kind of explains the whole process because it is a little confusing. So yeah, we can do that.
But thank you, Big Daddy, for supporting. Got to get you in that turkey cast. Pat for $1. Jeremy, in your food recommendations for Pensacola, you forgot to mention hamburger helper lasagna at Piggly Wiggly. Ronan, Ryan, get a haircut, you hippie, unless you're going for the Santa look. So Jeremy can sit on your lap all December.
I'll pass.
I do need a haircut. Big Daddy, Ryan needs a new hairstyle. Every time I see him, all I can think of is something about Mary. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. For the love of God, man, wash the cum out of your hair.
I can see that joke right there.
I'll work on it. It's the first time I've ever heard that. Chronicling Mayhem and that is Sophie. Hate the people are saying you want accurate Vikings in a film with dragons. Yes, motherfucker. Fantasy World still need to make sense. Also re-uploaded the signs vid to my new channel. Hail 199.
Hail.
Well, it's about what they established in the first one, right? So, like, obviously, this is based on a Viking culture. Like that's what it's based off. And if Astrid had looked like Nico Parker in the first one, but it still went on to become a beloved thing, no one would be saying any questions. It's about the fact that, hey, people care about the animated one. This is different. Why is it different? And how is it going to affect the story? Those are valid questions people are asking because of what we've seen over the past decade in Hollywood.
Hey, do you know what's going on with Megyn Kelly?
I don't know. I have no idea what the clip is from. I think she was like talking about something and was trying to demonstrate it. But this is the only 12-second clip that I've seen. Go ahead.
This is good quality content right here.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, I should not be doing this. That's what she did.
Good quality content right there. She's got a great personality.
Yeah, so obviously she's like talking about something that someone did.
Something, I think it was Morning Joe, something to do with Mika and Joe, I think.
Maybe. I have no idea the context and what she's trying to describe there. But yes, I don't think that it's going to do too much damage to her reputation. I think only good things will come from that clip.
Yes.
Deeds, Minnesota. Jeremy, that watch-along movie last night was the worst, cringiest thing I've ever seen. Looking forward to the next one. Thank you.
What
Deeds,
did he
Minnesota. Say? Says the turkey thing was the most worst, most cringy thing I've ever seen. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. I'd like to watch Rubber at some point. Have you seen Rubber?
Is it about a condom?
You really don't know what Rubber is?
Rubber?
It's about a killer tire.
I've heard about that now that you say that. And it was called Rubber.
Dude, it's so fun. ThanksKilling is so fucking retarded, dude. Like the turkey kills the fucking dad of a girl in the movie, and then they come home and he took the dad's face, like cut the dad's face off, and the turkey put it over his face, and they're talking to the turkey like he's the dad. It's so fucking retarded.
God.
It's so dumb.
Speaking of really ugly faces, we should talk about Star Wars Outlaws. Obviously, Star Wars Outlaws was riddled with controversy from the very beginning, from the first time that people saw the trailers. They weren't interested in the story. And then when the actual game came out, it was a complete and total nightmare. It was a disaster from a functionality perspective. The game just didn't work. It shouldn't have been released in that state. And Star Wars Outlaws, as Ubisoft admitted, was a complete and total failure, a disappointment. Investors were furious about the state of this game and the disappointing sales. Star Wars Outlaws failed to meet Ubisoft's expectations. The company apologizes and promises major fix ahead of Steam release. Because we saw and we reacted to a lot of those clips, Jeremy, about like trying to stealth, and the stealth was just completely broken in the game. It didn't make sense. Glitches galore. And, of course, it just did release on Steam just like a day ago. The Star Wars Outlaws Steam version has fewer than 1,000 players at launch.
Jeez.
And as we speak now, they did get up to 1,000 players. I assume it'll get a little bit higher than that probably, but I don't think it's going to do bonkers 3 months after initial release. But do you know how they fixed it, Jeremy? You know, they promised, we're going to fix it, guys. We're going to fix it. We know the stealth's been broken. We're going to fix it for you. Well, they fixed it by fucking removing it from the game. Ubisoft has released the huge and highly anticipated title update 1.4 for Star Wars Outlaws on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, which, perhaps most notably, cuts stealth requirements from almost the entire game.
Jesus.
So something that was broken, something that was promised to be part of the game, something that was advertised as a big part of the game, something they said we promised we're going to fix. Well, the fix is
they cut it out.
They cut it out. You don't actually have to stealth anymore. Don't worry. We know it sucks. So now we just are not going to make you use it. There you go. Cutting content from the game. That's their way of fixing it 3 months after launch.
It's amazing how much current Lucasfilm represents the current games division of Lucasfilm represents current Lucasfilm. Just like back in the day, George Lucas's Star Wars, and how all of these iconic video games that you got through all of those years, even through the downtimes, you got all of these games that people look back on with fond memories. And there were a lot of different style of Star Wars games back then too, versus now. We have not gotten a truly, I guess outside of the Fallen Order games, those are the only two that I think have been kind of universally accepted, right? Since Disney purchased.
That's what I mean.
But they didn't have they didn't hit
a lot of that has to do with which studios are doing things as well.
It does. But like, even still, those games, while had very positive receptions, they didn't turn the needle. Like, I think the Battlefront games sold more copies than the Fallen Order games.
I think that the first Jedi Fallen Order, I do think that turned the needle a little bit. I think that a lot of people were paying attention to it, and it actually like created a new character in the Star Wars universe that people were interested in potentially coming and seeing, you know?
Yeah.
So I do think that one of all of them may have done that. Battlefront obviously is a multiplayer game. I'm not surprised if that sold more copies when it was all said and done than a single player Jedi.
But even with all of the sales for Battlefront, they still and I very much enjoyed both Battlefront games, but they ended up disappointing the majority of people that played them. You know what I mean? Like, people just were not happy with those games for various amount of reasons. You also had other Star Wars games that have released, and just none of them have been able to capture the audience. And then it leads us all up to this horrifically bad game that was nominated for 3 awards at the Game Awards, by the way. Just want to point that out. One of them was Action Adventure, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Was one of them best action adventure game of the year. Can you believe that this was nominated with all of the problems that this game has faced, and it got nominated for best action adventure game? I think I might need to verify that, but
there's like 25 different retarded categories, so it's tough to keep track.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, Ubisoft, they're in big trouble right now. Obviously, Lucasfilm sucks. This character, I was from the beginning when I saw this character and I saw the direction they were going. If you look back on my reaction to the trailer, of course, it's been clipped out and shared all over Twitter 1,000 times. But as soon as I saw this for what it was and being presented the way it was, I was out, because it's not a guarantee, but it almost is a guarantee that when identity politics is at the forefront of a big project like this, that everything else is going to suffer along the way. It's almost a guarantee. Not quite, but you can almost bank it. If you see identity politics at the forefront, and this woman she's a woman of color and she's supposed to be the new Han Solo and she's a badass, at that moment, you can already almost assume that it's going to be, it's going to have problems on top of problems in all of these other areas, because their central focus is identity politics. And this is where we are with Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, congratulations, Star Wars Outlaws. Another failure in the books for Disney Star Wars.
Yep. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Fuck them. They deserve it.
Mike Zero's source. As a reminder, guys, we will be doing an extra hour over on Locals as soon as we're caught up with these chats. And
with a special guest joining us.
Yeah, I love guests. Mike Zero's source for 10. Jeremy, if you're watching the classics, check out Revenge of the Nerds. I'm sure you could relate to Lamar.
It's been forever since I saw that one.
Arnold Squash and N-word. Jesse Small Anus is not a. He's got a small dick. Is what you're saying there, Arnold. Thank you. Pre-dawn course for 5. Fun fact: the Atlantic Goliath grouper was historically referred to as the Jewfish. You're welcome. Thanks, Pre-dawn Corpse. The Trill, is anyone interested in Beyond Good and Evil 2 at this point, after the way Ubisoft has ran their IPs and company into the ground? You fuck that fat cow. Nima. Durka. Muhammad Jihad. Thanks. Emo Otaku, watch Plan 9 from Outer Space. Shadow Saiyan.
We might watch the 1992 space movie on Locals. We may do that.
What's next? Killer Homosexual? It's Jeremy. Franco Oz is a better Oz prequel than Wicked, says Garuk. Speaking of Battlefront, when are we ever going to go back, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. I just the problem is I don't think you can do private lobbies on that game, and I'm not sure if there's enough people playing the fucking game currently. To like, I heard like on PC it's completely dead, which blows my mind. There's 1,000 people playing Star Wars Outlaws, and nobody's playing Battlefront. It's wild to me. Because you would think there would be some people playing it as many copies that were sold.
It's a very old game, and it's a game that's been abandoned. You know, like
it's still fun.
Wolfblade for 2. What are your thoughts on Jedi Fallen Order games? I think that they're well-made games from like a technical perspective, and I think the combat is fluid and fun.
Story is what bothers you.
I leave a little to be desired from the actual story. Just another thing set up right here. Just another guy who fucking escapes Darth Vader. The thing I did like about the first one was that, despite the fact that he is able to escape Vader, and live to tell the tale, like that confrontation with Vader at the end, it's like, run. You know, like that's what it is. It's like, I need to get the fuck out because I have no chance. Get the fuck out. But Jedi Survivor was.
I didn't play Survivor, but yeah, I enjoyed
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
I didn't play too much of it either. I played for about 6 or 8 hours, and I just got kind of tired of it. They had a High Republic tie-in storyline, so I'm not as familiar with that plot line. But
did let me ask you this: did the overall like just Lucasfilm in general and how they're operating? Did it bother you to play this game as Kestis is like, he didn't feel like he was somebody that Lucasfilm really cared about, like that they were going to put everything else with all of the female representation, all the identity politics bullshit, and the wider Lucasfilm. This just felt like a one-off, like it didn't feel like current Lucasfilm at all. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't feel that it was in line with everything else that they had been doing.
I think
it felt like an anomaly.
I don't know. I tend to put, when it comes to these games, I tend to put much more of the onus and blame and responsibility on the studios that are creating it than Lucasfilm. I think they pitch things to Lucasfilm, and I think they give them feedback, and they're like, okay, go. That's how I feel like it works most of the time.
See, I feel like you give Lucasfilm a pass on that. Like, so if you're telling me that if a studio wanted to make like this thing was predominantly just all male with no bullshit and all that, like Lucasfilm wouldn't step in. Like, I just feel like they have an overall narrative generally.
But you're saying like they didn't care about this one. Why do you say they didn't care about it? Just because it had a dude in it?
Well, I'm saying like it doesn't feel like that character got any real, like, Star Wars Outlaws has been far more discussed in the wider media than the Fallen Order games has been. We know more about that game and that character has been at the forefront more than these well-received games.
Because it's controversial. In the same way that we talked about Acolyte a lot more than we fucking talked about Andor. Because it's controversial. Like that's why, you know what I mean? Like that's what generates the buzz. That's why we talk so much about the Marvels, despite the fact that it was a massive, colossal failure, right? It's a controversial thing.
Yeah, I guess.
That's how I feel about it. Now, I'm not saying like Lucasfilm isn't involved at all. What I think is for like the general like storylines, I think that I think these companies are, and that's really how it works with Lucasfilm now, that anybody can do it. These developers come and they pitch games to Lucasfilm, right? And Lucasfilm gives their feedback, or maybe greenlights it, maybe they don't. And then obviously they're working within people in the story group like area and whoever they have assigned to that to get some of the lore aspects accurate and things. I just mean from the broad scale, Lucasfilm isn't going and dictating so much of the video game stuff as people are coming and asking to do certain things. And then Lucasfilm is deciding whether or not to greenlight this or that.
Yeah.
I know certainly they have tweaks in the stories, and certainly there's like things that they would give feedback on. But I just overall, like with Star Wars Outlaws, I put much of the onus on Ubisoft more so than like every little thing. The reason it's so fucked up was just because Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if it had more of the Lucasfilm bullshit behind it, it would be discussed more. Like those games that's the best. Is it fair to say that from a wide releases standpoint, movies, TV, all of that the Fallen Order games are the best received things that Lucasfilm has delivered? And I'm excluding like Clone Wars from that because that's not a wide release. That's a very small niche thing. You know what I mean?
You're saying like, I think the first couple seasons of Mandalorian were in general well received.
Yes.
Rogue One, I think in general was very well received. So it's tough, but
I would say Mandalorian's
in that category.
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
sure.
Mandalorian is probably the best received thing. Season 1 is probably the best received thing they've done on a big scale. I guess the Mandalorian is a little tainted right now because of the season 3 and how that all kind of fell apart because it doesn't have the shine on it that it used to have. But like, the 2 Fallen Order games have been really well received.
Force Awakens was well received. Like,
it was at the time, but now it's like we look back on it and
as much as I fucking hated Force Awakens and thought Mando season 1 had so many problems, and I thought Mando season 2 is dog shit. In general, if you're talking about everybody, they were very well received. Yeah,
I guess like after the fact now that the dust has settled, Mandalorian has problems. Force Awakens, clearly people look back on that, but the dust has settled and no one's looking back on the Fallen Order games and going like, those games really weren't that great. They were fool's gold. They're still well received through all the dust and all the bullshit. Even Rogue One people, I think, look back on that and have a different opinion on it now. So
yeah, when like after you remember that there's a first like 2 hours to the movie that are kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. I was never high on that movie, never. So, all right, we got to get ready for our second hour.
Yeah, we got to get through these super
locals
chats here. Let's see. To do that one guy. Happy birthday, Ryan. Thanks. Maximus BT for $1. Thank you. Carl Anderson for 5. The 2 new Star Wars Battlefront games were Call of Duty with the skin of Star Wars. They lacked all the heart and gameplay mechanics of the originals. I played the fuck out of the original Battlefront games. Eugenio Anime Rican 1976 Olivencia. I wish Beardo was on. Would have liked his thoughts on Daniel Jones just being released he got released? I didn't see he got released. That must have just came out. That's crazy.
All right, what's up here?
But anyway, that's a sports topic.
No, Daniel Jones. Yeah, Daniel Jones. Right?
Yeah, was he actually released?
Yes, he was. I just saw it.
Wow.
Yep.
That is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Snowdub. Oh, I missed this one. Sorry, man. Megan Kelly was mocking a photo Mika did a while back. Sky News Australia on X has the full video. Don't like Morning Joe, but Mika has nice gams. Thanks, Madney. Snowdub. Hail, Jeremy and Ryan. Hope you're both doing well. Much love from the patriotic puppet. Hey,
what's up, brother?
Snowdub. Black Kane for 10. Surprised Ryan doesn't like Zootopia. It's about an Uish conspiracy to gain power by sowing radical tension using the inherently violent portion of the population. It's basically Disney's Turner Diaries. Thank you, Black Kane. Prion Corpse for 5. Jeremy, do you remember Tenchu Stealth Assassins for PS1?
I never played it.
Maximus for $1. Thanks. Giant Samus says Jones asked to be released. I'm not surprised, and it's just like that is kind of, man, that happened quick. Happened very, very quick. Over on Rumble, Ronan, I'd buy into G&G Locals if Dr. Ryan would bless us with more health advice. Yeah, I don't know if you heard about that. I don't know if you heard about that, Jeremy, but I was telling people how to cure their allergies.
Oh boy.
Basically, I was saying people allergic to shit are massive fucking pussies, and you gotta just toughen up and get stronger.
That's
if you're
essentially,
if you're definitely
essentially all
allergic
it
to
is.
something, exposure therapy. So if you fucking die,
I
if you eat a
agree.
peanut, just
I agree.
lick a peanut.
I agree.
with
That's
it.
that's
Like
why
it twice the next day. Yeah.
yeah, I've talked about like people that are like super like germaphobes, you know, and it's like, well, you've protected your immune system so much, so when you expose yourself outside of that bubble, you're more likely to get sick. You know, go out there and eat shitty food, okay? Go out there and expose yourself to shitty stuff, and guess what? You don't get sick that much when you live in the filth. That's why I never get sick. I'm almost never sick. I eat fucking shitty food every day, and I live in the filth. It's all good. Don't have to worry about it.
This is not official medical advice.
Not official medical advice.
Jason Yankovic for 5 stars. Outlaws was likely talked about because Ubisoft paid people to talk about it. Also, Astrid, Mary Jane, and Annabeth. I'm noticing a pattern. Yeah, I hate the Annabeth one so much. So much. Shadow saying happy birthday to Jessica's mom. Happy birthday, Jessica's mom, if that's true. Big Daddy for $2. The locals thing is cool. You might get a second sub out of me. I think the Crowder thing confused me, but I realize he's doing some sort of merge.
Oh, because he's got a locals page and all of that, Crowder. So I got you. Yeah, we can absolutely make a video breaking it down though. Breaking it down.
And then Maximus for another $1. Thanks, Maximus. We're all caught up. We will catch the locals chats when we do the switch over to locals. We'll get caught up on those.
Special guest to join us to talk about Wicked. Who will it be? I guess we'll find out. But thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great weekend. And Cobra Cast will be, I might be like from my phone on Cobra Cast tonight. We'll see. I might do a quick Cobra Cast after the second hour on locals. I'm not sure. Maximus BT just keeps dropping the 99 cents. They keep dropping them. Just keeps going. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to all of you later. Say bye, Ryan.
Bye, Ryan.
Are you saying bye to the YouTube side, Ryan, or the Rumble side, or
I'm
the
saying
Twitter
bye
side?
to the Rumble side because I'm about to end it right now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to end the YouTube side. Bye, YouTube.